that will be tomorrow, no? Yung first edition ng Wednesday Roundtable at Lido. After 50 editions, we'll begin our journey to our second year. We'd like to thank the management and staff of Lido Cocina China, led by the President Annie Wong, for opening their doors to another public affairs event in Metro Manila. And of course, ito po ay isang legitimate source of news and information for our colleagues in the media. So we also remember the second edition when we featured a thorough and candid discussion on the arbitral tribunal's ruling on the petition filed by the Philippine government on the South China Sea. It was a blockbuster because we had former Senator Leti Ramos Shahani, may she rest in peace, Professor J. Batungbakal of UP College of Law, Professor Richard Heydarian, UP Asian Center Professor Eileen Baviera, and former colleague in media and now Philippine Ambassador to China, Chito Santa Romana. But before we go any further, we'd like to request Monsignor Quitorio, our president at Areopagus, to say a few words, and then we will have a small token for Annie as president of Lido. Monsignor, please.
Good morning. After a year of Roundtable, we would like to thank our resource persons, of course, and our media. We have been, like you said, continuing our discussions. I think that's the most important now. In a democratic space, discussion is very important. So I would like to thank everybody, and we hope to continue another year, in fact, another 25 years. Thank you.
Thank you. May we call on Annie, Monsignor, please? We'd like to give the certificate of appreciation to Miss Annie G. Wong, President of Lido Cocina China, for opening its doors to Wednesday Roundtable at Lido, which now celebrates its first anniversary. Wednesday Roundtable at Lido has become a legitimate source of news for both national and international media. Given this 5th day of July 2017 as Wednesday Roundtable at Lido celebrates its first milestone. Signed, Monsignor Pedro C. Quitorio III, President of Areopagus Communications.
Legitimate news. Underscoring supply.
Maraming salamat po. Thank you very much. Thank you. Salamat po. Babalik ka.
Legitimate news.
Legitimate news.
Qualify.
Emphasize.
Okay. Today, we will talk about the prevailing business climate in the Philippines. We're truly honored to have with us Foreign Affairs Undersecretary for International Trade Relations, Attorney Manuel Antonio Dondi Teehankee, representing Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano. Department of Transportation Undersecretary Dr. Cesar Chavez. He's the Undersecretary for Railways. Yung railways under the DOTr administration has metamorphosed into something good. Hindi na lumalampas sa Taft Avenue. No? Kasama rin po natin ang isa sa pinakamagaling magbilang ng pera mula po sa Bangko Sentral, ang Director of Economic Statistics, Rosabel Guerrero. Welcome. And of course, ang isa sa pinakamasayang tao sa Pilipinas ngayon, yung pong tagapagsalita ng Chamber of Mines of the Philippines, si Attorney Ronnie Recidoro. Pinakamasaya ito. Sabi nga nung isang kaibigan ko, ilang beses kayo nagpatideum sa pasasalamat sa Diyos. Hindi ko nga malaman kung bakit. Pero mukhang ganda ng ngiti ninyo. Sige, simulan natin. Let's hear from the good Undersecretary of Foreign Affairs, Undersecretary Dondi Teehankee, on the status of the Philippines as far as international trade relations is concerned. How are we today? Are we that attractive to investors? Please.
Yes, well, good morning to everyone, of course, my colleagues in government. And, well, of course, the Philippines is quite popular and quite a player today in the world stage. First of all, this is a landmark year. I'm wearing today the ASEAN 50 pin. It marks this August, we are going to have a very big celebration, the 50th anniversary of ASEAN. And it is also timely at this special year that the Philippines is chairman and President Rodrigo Duterte is chairman. The President did so well at the first ASEAN 50 summit last April. And also, we remember that the President will also host the summit in November, which will cap this whole years of celebration. ASEAN is quite important because in the economic scene, it is a regional economic integration experiment that is doing very well, moves slowly but surely. We, of course, in the whole world, ASEAN is now the focus of a region of over 500 million people. The economy is next only to, it's the biggest in Asia, next only to China and Japan. And of course, with the problems in the West, with Brexit, the European Union, ASEAN has become the centerpiece example of gradual but sure economic integration. So in the Philippines scenario, the Philippines is at the center today of this growing region. So Philippines is well poised to take advantage of the ASEAN economy.
Very well. And that's just the opening statement. No? Can we hear from the good Undersecretary of Transportation? They say that transport is very vital to business. What can we expect from the Duterte administration?
From 1984 to the present, that is 33 years, we only constructed additional 33 kilometers of rail track. That is Line 2, that is MRT 3, and we extended Monumento to North Avenue and Quezon City. 33 kilometers, Monsignor. Under the Duterte administration, in the next 5 years, we expect to complete railway projects around 990 kilometers minimum. These are PNR North 1, that is Manila, to Malolos, about 37 kilometers, already funded by Japan, 106 billion pesos. It's a double track electrified and elevated rail track. We hope to complete the project by 2021. From Malolos to Clark to Green City. Malolos to Clark to Green City, around 65 kilometers. It's going to be 211 billion indicative cost, also to be funded by Japan. We expect to complete the project, at least the single track from Malolos to Clark Airport by end of 2021 or first quarter of 2022. Again, this is electrified, a double track, and elevated. From Clark to Subic, this is going to be the project of BCDA. This is about 65 billion pesos worth of project, mainly cargo. It's going to be a freight train. We expect to complete the project also by 2021. That's according to the BCDA. We move on to the south. Manila to Los Baños, that's about 72 kilometers. This is going to be funded by Japan. It's going to be 130 billion pesos. This is what we call PNR Commuter Rail Project. The PNR South Long Haul is from Calamba to Batangas, Los Baños to Matnog, Sorsogon, about 581 kilometers. By the way, Manila to Matnog, Calamba to Batangas is around 651 kilometers. The PNR Long Haul, Los Baños to Matnog, Calamba to Batangas, is to be funded by China. We had 2 high-level meetings already with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Commerce, Minister of Finance, high-level meetings in China twice, and 2 high-level meetings in Manila twice. And out of the top 3 projects of China to be funded by China, number 3 is the PNR Long Haul. That's PNR South, PNR South, and PNR North. We expect also to complete the MRT 7. MRT7 is from North Avenue, underground Quezon City Circle, underground UP, opposite of UP Techno Hub, then viaduct from Tandang Sora all the way to San Jose del Monte, Bulacan. This is about 23 kilometers, 1.4 billion US dollars. We expect to complete the project by the end of 2019. 2019. Of course, they're requesting to extend the timeline to first half of 2020, but the instruction of Secretary Tugade, no variation orders, stick to the timeline and show to us why you cannot complete the project by the end of 2019. The MRT7 is expected to accommodate 500,000 passengers every day. The common station, very controversial one, is already resolved between the Department of Transportation and our congressional leaders, Speaker Alvarez. So we will start the procurement of the common station from 7,000 square kilometers to 13,000 kilometers because we want a bigger common station to accommodate the MRT7, LRT Line 1, MRT and MRT3. Okay. The other project that we expect to be completed under the DOTr administration is also the 9.7 kilometer rail project, what we call East-West Line. This is opposite of UP Techno Hub, underground. Then underground Quezon City Circle, underground EDSA, corner Quezon Avenue, and elevated from Delta all the way to España and Lerma. This is the only rail project that will connect MRT7, MRT7, MRT3, PNR South, LRT Line 1, and LRT Line 2. This is unsolicited proposal. MRT7 is being constructed and funded by San Miguel Corporation. The Line 8 is to be funded, already granted original proponent status by NEDA, already endorsed by the Department of Transportation during our time. This is to be funded by Malaysian Alloy MTD with local partner Megaworld. So that's MRT7, MRT8. We also expect to complete the Baclaran to Cavite. That's 8 station, 11 kilometers by 2021. Today, this month, we expect to complete the monumenting of the alignment, and by August, we expect to complete to start the fencing and therefore the construction to begin this year, before the end of this year. We expect additional 300 passengers from Bacoor, Cavite. 300,000 additional passengers from the existing 500. Therefore, Line 1 will be coming from Bacoor, Cavite, all the way to Monumento and North Avenue. 800,000 daily ridership.
Really?
Boss, the common station, based on the JICA study, the Metro Manila ridership demand 13 years from now, or by 2030, is expected to be about 9 million. 9 million. Daily ridership, rail ridership, 13 years from now, or by 2030. That is why we are expanding the common station from the original 7,000 to 13,000 square meters.
Very well, but before I forget, let me ask you. You mentioned that we're talking of electric trains, right?
Electrified.
Electrified trains. Now, I remember during the presentations of Mr. Sobrepeña when MRT3 was just in the works, he said that there will be an independent power supply. However, it never happened because Meralco complained. No? So, will these trains be reliant on Meralco, or will it have an independent power supply?
It will be reliant thus far to Meralco. In fact, we discussed this with Secretary Cusi already.
Yes.
With the 1 trillion worth of rail projects under the Duterte administration, that includes the Tagum Davao Digos project, and Tagum to Butuan, 256 kilometers, Butuan to Cagayan de Oro to Iligan, 285 kilometers. We already discussed it with the Secretary of Energy. That they are already anticipating future
demand for
electricity
electricity
in the next 3 to 5 years because this will be completed in the next 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
All these rail projects.
Okay, very well. Can we hear from the Bangko Sentral about remittances? How are things going on? Because it's been said that remittances should not be relied upon solely because this is unstable. How stable or unstable are foreign remittances over the past few years?
If you will look at the data, if you just look at the cash remittances that pass through the banking system, it's for everyone to judge whether it's stable or not. Because for the past few years, we have recorded growth in remittances, although it's not as high as what we had seen during the 1980s, 1990s when we were looking at double-digit growth. In 2016, cash remittances that were coursed through the banking system alone was recorded at almost $27 billion, to be exact, $26.9 billion passing through the banking system. And if we look at the broader coverage of remittances, because if you talk about remittances, it's not what you receive in cash. It also covers what our beneficiaries receive in kind. Those that probably they would be receiving appliances or other forms.
Kasama ng tsokolating
Correct.
balikbayan box.
Yes,
Oh.
yes, that would include that. And also those that were sent to them probably through relatives or friends or brought home by the workers themselves. Because these are those that we call passing through the informal channels.
Padala.
And padala, yes. So if we look at that broader coverage of remittances, and remittances would not only be those that are sent by the overseas Filipino workers, but even other household-to-household transfers.
Okay.
So all in all, that would be $29.7 billion in 2016.
Okay.
And that's higher by 4.9% compared to 2015. And for the past few years, that's what we have been recording. In fact, we were only looking at a 4% growth. That was what we projected for the past 2 years. But for the past 2 years, we have surpassed that growth projection for remittances, both in terms of personal remittances, the broader measure, and in terms of cash remittances that pass through the banking system.
Very well. Have you noticed any increase in the number of bank depositors? Because there was a study years ago which said that most Filipinos have bank deposits all right, but this would amount to 5,000 pesos and below.
Yeah. We have a survey that we conduct, although you cannot really say this is what is the actual picture of the actual number of bank depositors when we talk of those that were sent through those that were remitted, and how many of those households were really depositing in banks. But when we look at the survey that we conducted, we have a quarterly consumer expectation survey, and among those surveyed are households. And if in that household there is an OFW member, then we would ask those households how much of the remittances that they receive were put in savings,
Okay.
or how much of this were invested.
Okay.
We noticed that from the time that we conducted the survey back, the nationwide survey back in 2007, the first quarter,
Yes.
those that save would be around about 13% of households saying that. But in the first quarter of 2017, the percentage of households that save is more than 40% already.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not true that most remittances go to SM. Because if you have the money, you receive your remittance, you go to, you buy your groceries, you buy
Yes.
appliances, you buy a
Yes.
condominium, no?
Of course, the bulk of their expenditures would still be on those consumer goods. But we also see an increasing number of households putting the part of their remittances to savings and investments because they already realize, and I guess the financial learning campaigns of the government, particularly the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, we do that every year. That has greatly encouraged or this has greatly motivated or influenced
Okay.
the mindset of our overseas Filipino workers and their families on the importance of saving and putting this in more productive undertakings so that they will earn more from these remittances, not just consume this.
Okay, how successful are you in your campaign for people to deposit in banks?
If you say that based on the survey, on the consumer expectation survey, that has been a big jump from about 13% in
To 40.
2007 to more than 40% of households with OFW members covered by the survey putting their remittances in savings.
Okay, but I guess you failed in Marawi City because most Maranaos don't deposit in banks. They'd rather keep their money at home, which justified, what the military got in one of the raids. Pera nasa bahay. Sangkaterbang pera yun. So, mula sa Chamber of Mines, how is it today? Have you had investors lately? Ano nangyari doon sa Western Mining, yung tampakan? Meron na bang investor so far?
Well, the last 10 months has been a wild roller coaster ride for the industry, no? And right now, the attitude of mining players is cautiously optimistic. Yung last 10 months created a lot of uncertainty, not just for investors, but also for our suppliers and institutional funders, no? Nobody wanted to come into the industry. But since the appointment of Secretary Simato, we've gotten some sort of stability already. He's been saying very good things. He's been creating a lot of stability for investors and funders. And he's been saying very good things. He wants to promote responsible mining. For our part, we believe that the last 10 months under Secretary Lopez, while it was a wild ride, was also a huge spotlight on the industry. No? It really shone a light on the industry, and it showed the players what was wrong with industry and what we needed to fix if we wanted to have a future in this country.
Uh-huh.
Oh, now, that said, we're cautiously optimistic because we see the opportunities available for us. As you may be aware, the country is one of the most mineralized in the world. We have very good mineral potential, but we have yet to tap it, and tap it responsibly. So for us in the industry now, the challenge is, how do you redefine responsible mining such that hindi lang nakafocus sa kita ng kumpanya, but more importantly, on how you are positively impacting your host
Okay.
communities. So,
Maganda yon. Balikan ko si Yusek Dondi. Yusek Dondi, anong hinahanap ng investors sa mga bansang pinaglalagakan nila ng kapital? What do they look for?
Well, of course, number one, they want to go to a market that is dynamic and growing. So, sa number one, sa dynamic and growing, our economy in the Philippines has consistently displayed over the last 15 years, consistent growth above 5%. No other country has that track record now. Before, Brazil had a consistent straight growth rate. Now, I think Philippines is at the top of the economic growth track record. And then second, we have a growing middle class. More than 50% of our population is below 25. This is called a demographic sweet spot. Kaya very attractive kasi young, consumers, may pera. So don't be surprised that investors or marketing people are knocking on our door. Third factor, of course, is stability and rule of law. So basically, they want a level playing field and some sort of rule of law and recourse to the judicial or international legal system.
Okay.
So,
okay.
so those three factors.
I hope you will still keep your job after this forum. But I will have to ask you this because of late, the president, the president said something about the EU and the United Nations, and then President Obama. How will this impact on the country's image? Because in ASEAN, it's been said that there are only two democratic countries. One of which is Indonesia, and the other one is, of course, the Philippines. But with statements like this, how will this impact on the country's image?
Well, President Duterte actually has a very strong image, positive image for expressing his views clearly. Basically, we launched just last 2 months ago the World Economic Forum on ASEAN in Phnom Penh, the president's plan, his 10-point socio-economic agenda has really attracted attention worldwide because the focus is on delivering to the people, the constituents. And that's where we launched the Build, Build, Build program, which of course relates very much to what has been discussed, taking care of overseas Filipinos, which represent 10% of the country, and of course, the Filipinos themselves delivering a better livelihood. So that is his message, putting Philippines first, and with that, ASEAN first. So his message is really a call back to basics, restoring trust. And Secretary of Foreign Affairs Alan Peter Cayetano was in Geneva precisely to show that the Philippines is already becoming mature, adult. When you become mature and adult, you are treated as equals. And when you act as an equal, then you gain respect. So I think we're at that very important stage from acting less than equal to really acting. The president is very sensitive if any country will lecture us or tell us what to do. Because the treatment among equals is mag-usapan tayo, let us look at the problem, let's look at the facts. Facts. So I think the Philippines is president gained so much respect among equals among the 10 ASEAN when you saw at the summit. And every interaction he has had, they are very well aware of the Philippines' position now in the world as a responsible player. And of course, we all know both the importance in the current world situation, even President Trump, President Xi Jinping consult with the president on important world issues.
Very well, very well. So at least, thank you for the assurance. But Mr. Undersecretary, you mentioned so much money, no? How do we intend to pay back all these things? Because sangkaterbang pera yan eh. Yung mga apo natin ba magbabaya? Paano?
Lahat ng projects naman ay hindi ODA, government to government. There are unsolicited proposals, there are PPP projects. Line 1 extension is PPP, Line 2 extension, operation and maintenance is PPP, Line 8 is PPP, MRT 7 is PPP. Now, according to NEDA, this is according to NEDA, we have a strong, stable debt to GDP ratio, which means that we have capacity to pay. And at the same time, according to DBM, the IRR that would be required by the private sector if this is going to be PPP. Again, we're not discounting PPP. In fact, we are also attracting PPP. We're also encouraging PPP and NGA. In fact, the Tagum Davao Digos is to be funded by the national government. Yes, that's 35.6 billion. At first, they wanted it to be ODA. Then the economic managers decided, we can go with the national government funding, the GAA. Very clear statement from Secretary Jokno and Secretary Pernia, we have the capacity to pay. Anyway, yung pakikiusap naman sa Japan and China, 2 to 3%. Ang pakiusap ni Secretary Dominguez, 5 to 10 years of grace period. Maturity of 30 to 35 years. Iko-kumpara mo yan sa private sector na ipapataw lang sa atin. But again, very clear statement. ng gobyerno, hindi natin sinasantabi ang participation ng private sector. Not only in
Okay.
the construction, but also in the operations and maintenance.
Yes, please.
If I just may add, because definitely that investors are really looking at our financial position. So a lot of these projects is GAA. So talagang we are really the key to the development and sustainability is looking at GAA, meaning strong balance sheet yung government. We have capacity to pay, meaning capacity to spend. And then ODA is assistance, and then PPP is private sector also. So meaning tapping all. There's no harm in tapping all funding to achieve the objectives.
But let me ask you.
Lahat pala ng project ng rail sector with PPP, because the operation and maintenance will be private sector.
Okay, tamang-tama yung tanong ko. Sapagkat may nagsasabi rin, may nagsusuri, na once na merong private sector dyan, hindi naman charitable institution yan. They'll be there for profits. Now, once you entrust them with something, then they have to make profits, karaniwang tao mahihirapan. Yes, please.
Well, that's the key. Government spending straight from budget, zero interest, di ba? ODA, minsan may zero for a certain period or grace period or 1, 2, 3%. So magandang usapan yan kung 1%, of course, common 2 to 3. So PPP, pasok ng private sector, the standard is 4 to 6%. So magandang usapan, pwedeng 4 to 5. So you can already see cost of money all the time. Ngayon kung O&M, they're already operating and management. Of course, that's all subject to public scrutiny and hearings. But you can examine the balance sheet. Of course, healthy return, kailangan yan. Again, 4 to 6% or 6 to 12%. So all that has to be, yan ang sinasabi ni Presidente, transparency. This will be one, in the build program, this will be one of the most transparent administrations because you will have access to all stages of the spending. And even private sector profit, na-examine naman rin yan.
Na-examine yun. Pero sa Department of Transportation, so many projects, do you have the personnel to monitor all this? Because
Good.
Ang isang problema kasi dyan, pag meron ka mga pautang, may utang na kahit 2%, may finder's fees yan eh. Paano? Baka may kumikita somewhere.
Well, the decision of whether to go on PPP or GAA or ODA and grant is a decision of the economic managers. Economic managers.
So, can we hold them liable if something goes wrong? You know, as they are managers, no?
The official request is being caused through.
Paano po ba ang sistema? Dahil katulad niyan, meron tayong pakikipag-usap sa China. Ano yung papel ng Department of Foreign Affairs? Kaysa doon sa mga ahensya tulad ng transport, nag-present na sila. So, meron bang initial moves yung Department of Foreign Affairs to look for partners in some other countries?
Well, of course, the premier agency for all our foreign relations is through the DFA. And of course, but the president is the chief architect of our foreign policy, so we take the signal from him. So definitely the foreign affairs works closely with the economic managers. And we do our part as the professional diplomats to pave the way for this. Because the more diplomacy takes place, you're opening doors and paving the way, first for the leaders to meet in a good environment, then the businessmen and ministers to meet, and then people-to-people contact is so key. So even cultural exchange is so important to improve economic exchange. So hindi mababawasan yung importansya ng people-to-people contact. So I think, as they say, whole of government approach, holistic approach, and hindi bintangan approach kasi ang ekonomiya ng Pilipinas ay hindi para sa leaders, hindi para sa kumpanya, but the companies, the leaders, the government is together with the people for one. Well, isa lang naman yung objective natin, di ba, sa Pilipinas, sa ikakaginhawa, sa future. Don't forget, the President's goal is by 2040, developed status na tayo. So we are really, there's no excuse nowadays for us not to achieve that. Kasi information age na yan. Everything is transparent. Technology, knowledge. Kung meron kang tanong about tama ba yung interest rate na yan, madali lang i-check sa internet. Masyado bang mataas yung return? So,
Okay.
I'm just saying, we must push forward and increase also trust and confidence in the Filipino. Because when you have less trust and confidence in si ganyan, pwede ba yan, si ganyan. Actually, you have less trust and confidence in yourself. But when you have more and more trust and confidence in yourself, lalaki yung confidence ng community. And that's where the Philippines is. We're
Yes.
approaching that time, that age, where the Philippines really in international affairs stands up proud, stands up equal.
Very well. Ngayon, ang tanong ko, Yusek, you come from Bicol. The Vice President is from Bicol. We don't want anything wrong to, happen to the President. But do you think the Vice President shares the same vision as that of our President, Digong?
Which one? Rail sector?
Hindi lang, lahat. May economic
I think everyone supports the president.
Yeah, yun ang punto ko dahil baka mamaya
Everyone supports the president. We have only one president.
Precisely. Pero yung bang vice presidente alam itong direksyon ng gobyerno dahil baka mamaya iba na naman ang sasabihin o iba naman yung interpretasyon ng mga dilawan at
Yung
iba
desisyon ho ng NEDA, ang desisyon ng policy, programa, proyekto ng in the rail sector, especially halimbawa in the Department of Transportation, hindi ginagawa ng DOTr lang yan. From Infracom to NEDA ICC to NEDA Board, at lahat yan very transparent. Nakalagay yan sa website, mayroong mga circulations about the decisions, and including the Office of the Vice President is informed of this decision. Not only through website, but regular communications between and among government officials, between and among government agencies.
Very well. Mula po sa foreign affairs, have you heard the Vice President talk about foreign policy? May sinabi ba siya na she agrees or there's something wrong with what the President is doing? This is important because one thing na problema ng Republika ng Pilipinas yung continuity. Yung ating mga plans, puro medium term. Wala tayong long term. Yung
Long term na tayo.
2040 na to.
No, long term, just to be fair,
Please.
long term, we are at a stage really of the fourth industrial revolution na tayo. And so Philippines is really participating in the world economy, the ASEAN economy, although Philippines first as we pursue it. But you can only achieve success for Philippines in cooperation, collaboration with others. So I think sa long-term planning, in fairness, lahat even across the aisle, ang tawag dyan, it's bipartisan, multi-party support. So I think what the Filipinos identify with is kung meron pro-Filipino, I think we're all united. Even the Vice President, lahat ng opposition, pag meron project like rail na napakaganda, I think it's very united. We get quite dynamic full support from Congress in
Very well.
in these kind of projects, and very clear from the economic managers, whatever was built by the prior administration, whether Aquino, GMA administration, ERAP administration from
Meron
before.
pa?
No. Every administration we have identified. There are actually identifiable outputs, contributions that you can build on. So walang sa economics, kasi sa economics ganun, you build talaga on the foundations that are there.
Very well. In as much as you're from the Department of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Undersecretary, how do you look at what's going on in the Middle East? Because next to the United States, remittances come from the Middle East. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE. Ano po ang pinakahuli ngayon doon? How will this impact on our Filipinos?
Well, this is a big priority of Secretary of Foreign Affairs Alan Peter Cayetano and the President. In fact, this was shown by the priority given and the visit of the President to the Middle East. He went to Saudi Arabia, went to Bahrain, Qatar. So I think the relationship with the Middle East has been strengthened with the President. There is a clear-cut priority and warm relationship now with the Middle East.
Okay.
There are many problems, but with close collaboration with the leadership in the Middle East, we are trying to lessen the impact on our OFWs. At the same time, pag may mga problema, the government is trying to be proactive, work with the communities there and OFWs to deal with real problems kung kailangan may evacuation.
Okay. We're prepared for that. Yeah. Dahil dinalaw nga ni Presidente yung mga bansang yun, sila naman yung nag-aaway ngayon. So, yun nakakatakot. Pero paalis na si Yusek. Medyo palilibrehin na po natin dahil yung boss niya naghihintay. No, wag muna. Marami pa tayong pag-uusapan. Okay. Teka muna, yung statement mo, anong aasahan? Dumating yung mga kaibigan natin from the television networks.
All right.
Okay.
This is what we're doing. No? Let me use military mindset.
NDCP graduate ka.
Decision making. Tactical, operational, and strategic. On a tactical level, or day-to-day maneuver, day-to-day operations, we're trying to improve the situations at MRT3. How are we doing that? We are making sure that the maintenance contractor complies with what is in the contract and compliant in the COA regulations. And therefore, every time it buys a spare part, they should be supported by certificate of origin, certificate of warranty, bill of lading, invoice receipt, and inspection report. That is for the protection of the people, especially of the riding public protection ho yan na ginagawa. That's what we're doing right now. Second, we're trying to improve the services of Line 1 and Line 2. On the operational side, in the next 2 to 3 years, we're looking at 2017 to 2020 to institute reforms. One is the creation of the Mindanao Railway Authority and make the Philippine National Railway limited only to Luzon, and therefore Luzon Railway Authority and similar to Visayas, because right now the thinking of the Speaker and the Senate President, and I think we're open to this idea, federal tayo, and let Mindanaoans think of how to manage, operate, and maintain railway projects in Mindanao. Let Mindanaoans decide where the alignment, what should be the business model in operating and maintaining a railway sector. That's operational. So we want a Mindanao Railway Authority, and we have the support of the Speaker and the Senate President and congressional leaders that this will be enacted within the next 2 to 3 years. Second, we want a Philippine Railway Regulatory Authority. Wala ho tayong regulator, mayroon tayong Marina, mayroon tayong LTFRB, may Energy Regulatory Board tayo. Wala hong nagre-regulate ng rail sector. We want that. In the next, by 2020 to 2050, we're trying to develop a strategic plan, National Railway Development Plan, that is an integral part of a national transport plan that should be a component of the National Development Agenda. Mayroon ho tayong Ambition 2040. Yun ho ang ating long term. Ang gusto ho natin, this early, Melo, this early, dapat meron na tayong maliwanag ano yung future alignment other than the Manila to La Union, Manila to Bicol, the 5 lines being studied for Cebu, Iloilo, and the circumferential corridors 1, 2, 3 in Mindanao. Ano pa yung linya? Why is that necessary? Ang gusto ho sana natin, magkaroon ng National Railway Development Act, similar to a National Defense Act, where we already identify the future rail tracks, the future rail networks, because regional planners, local government planners should already incorporate in the planning system the future railway network para hindi ka na magtatayo ng ospital, ng eskwelahan, ng private sector, ng mga commercial buildings doon sa mga lugar na i-identify na natin. Why is that? Because 50 years ago, 70 years ago, yung mga planners natin, mukhang may kailangang matuto tayo sa kanilang karanasan na hindi na kinakailangang i-predict yung regional growth, yung urbanization, even outside Metro Manila. And therefore, ang tingin namin, yung land acquisition para sa future rail network ay dapat masimula na.
Okay.
Hindi lang dito sa limited, because hindi pwedeng puro bus tayo. Hindi pwedeng puro private cars tayo. We need more trains, rail tracks sa Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao.
Very
Okay?
well. Bago ka umalis, may tanong yung mga kapatid natin sa media? Please.
Does it continue to attract investors? Kasi syempre may Japan, China,
Yes. Yes, because again, hybrid ho ang railway projects natin. Pag sinabi natin hybrid, may component ng National Government Agency or National Appropriations Act, yung GAA natin. Pangalawa, mayroong private sector, may ODA, may grant. Ano yung halimbawa? Let's use an example, the PNR South. That's Manila to Bicol. The PNR Manila to Los Baños, this is a 72-kilometer project to be funded by Japan. Ang operation and maintenance will be private sector. By the way, yung operation and maintenance ng Clark to Los Baños will only be one para seamless. You can go to Clark from Naiya or Los Baños or Calamba or Makati in 1.15 minutes. 1 hour and 15 minutes. Pwede ka nang pumunta doon, may express train. Mayroong dire-diretso, mayroong tinatawag na limited operation, mayroong localized operations, halimbawa in Bicol. Dati ang Tutuban ang pinaka-terminal. Ngayon, ang plano natin, ang pinaka-terminal ay FTI. Why is it FTI? Dahil mayroon tayong integrated terminal system dyan ngayon. Mayroon din tayong subway na magkoconnect dyan. Nandun na yung pinaka-terminal mo, and you can go to Matnog, Sorsogon in 5 hours. How do we do that? Mayroon tinatawag tayong Bicol Express. Ang tawag dito ni Secretary,
Masarap
Bicol
yan.
Express. Yung Bicol Express, instead every station, hihinto ka. Dito, from FTI, bababa ka ng konti sa Los Baños because that's going to be the depot of PNR long haul. Ang susunod mo ng istasyon ay Lucena. Then Gumaca, Naga City, Iriga, Legazpi, Sorsogon City, and Matnog. That is the first phase. Single truck, diesel locomotive.
Teka, single truck. Eh di maghihintayan na naman tayo sa Honda.
Boss, no. Ang single truck natin, because this is long haul, remember the ridership study based on the ADP study, based on the previous studies and further updated by Asian Development Bank. Ang pasahero mo papunta ng Bicol ay 11,000 lang daily. Samantala yung pasahero mo Manila to Los Baños is around 350,000. And therefore, we cannot afford double truck. But when we procure the land area for the long haul, that's Los Baños to Bicol, we appropriated 54 billion out of 170 billion for land acquisition because in the first phase, single truck ka muna para matapos mo ito. Pero naka-ready na yung pangalawang mong truck. Pangalawa, ito'y diesel locomotive pero dual mode. Pwede mo siya i-electrify because anong konsepto natin? Build and they will come. Pagka stable, remember, this is not rehabilitation project. Remember, this is a reconstruction project. From narrow gauge to standard gauge. New station, new rail tracks, new relays, boss. So, ano ho ito? Ito ho yung ina-expect natin. Are there project attracting foreign investors? Yes. Andyan ang Amerika. Ang Amerika, madalas pumupunta sa amin. Ang Korean pumupunta sa Israel, pumupunta sa atin. Russia pumupunta sa atin. Secretary Tugadi already announced that Russia is thinking also of Clark to La Union. Clark to La Union. On March 21, last March 21, 2017, we presented to the NEDA the Luzon Railway Framework. Ano yon? Hindi lang hanggang Clark and Subic. From Clark City, diretso tayo ng La Union hanggang Poro Point. From Clark, pupunta tayo ng Nueva Ecija hanggang Tugigaraw. At least nandiyon na yan. Why is this a strategic plan? Because hindi naman pwedeng kung ano lang yung release ngayon. We are anticipating new communities, growth in Bisaya, in Nueva Ecija, Vizcaya, Isabela, and therefore we should anticipate future line. At ginagawa ho natin, nasa NEDA ho yan. Ang sinasabi nga natin, ngayon pa lang, we should not be limited to that. Ang kinakailangan natin ngayon, in consultations with regional development councils, in consultations with other government agencies, private sector, ano pa ba yung future line? Why is that important? Kaya nga ho sana, ang plano namin, between 2017 to 2020, 3 years, ma-identify na natin ang iba pang rail networks. Bakit ho? Ang Japan, bago naging ganyan ang ginawa nila, ang unang ginawa ng Japan is to enact, legislate 33 trunk lines. Para kayong mga negosyante, halimbawa sa Bicol, huwag nyo nang pakialaman to dahil yan na ang future train line yan. Kayong mga regional, provincial government, local government, huwag ka nang magtayo dyan ng ospital sapagkat dyan nakadadaan yan. Kung gusto mo, pag nagtayo ka ng ospital, i-align mo na sa future station.
Teka muna, baka may mag-subdivision pa dyan. Yun. Iko-convert yung ano.
Kaya kinakailangan mong i-legislate. Ano ho ang natutunan namin? Ang natutunan namin sa gobyerno, kapag plano lang, halos walang pangil. Ang plano dapat ay nililegislate mo yan. Para yung halimbawa, papunta mo ng Legazpi, hindi ka naman pwedeng limit within the Legazpi, pwede ka nang mag-create ng mga spar line. Pwede ka nang mag-create ng mga bagong linya. Should they be created in the next 2 to 3 years? No. What we are anticipating in the next 10, 20, 30 years from now, yung mga linya niyan, pwede mong gawin yan. At anytime na may foreign investors na gustong gawin yan, mayroon ka ng dedicated lines. Yun ang gusto natin.
Okay. Ikay dati mambabatas. Ang problema ko kasi, pag mayroong magandang panukalang batas at masasagasaan mo yung mambabatas, pag lumabas yung batas, hindi mo na makikilala because they've completely watered it down.
Yun ang dynamics ng planning. Alam nyo, ang planning ay hindi lamang gobyerno lang. At ang planning ay hindi galing sa central. Ang planning ay ang daming stakeholders. Kung gaano ka-active ang private sector, ang local community, kung gaano kagagaling ang mga planners sa local government units, at kung gaano kagigising at mulat yung mga kababayan natin doon, ang plano nalilimit yung mga petty and parochial interest ng kung sino man. Importante yung dynamics ng planning. Importante talaga yun.
Okay. Pahabol.
Future rail lines. Future rail lines. Let me give you an example. Metro Manila. In 2008, when I was the Deputy Administrator of LRTA, 2008, I was also head of the planning cluster. We already identified 20 lines in Metro Manila. Why is that so? Metro Manila is only comparable to Jakarta and Seoul, Korea in terms of land area and population. Halos pareho ang land area natin dito lang sa dalawang mega cities. Seoul, Korea, and Jakarta. Land area and population. Saan tayo nagkakaiba? Ang Metro Manila ay mayroon lang 76 kilometers na railway. That is a total sum of Line 1, Line 2, MRT 3, and PNR in Metro Manila. O ano ang Jakarta? Ano ang Seoul, Korea? 600. Ano ang Seoul, Korea? More than 1,000. Riles ang pinag-uusapan natin. Ano pa ang pagkakaiba natin sa kanila? Road network. Our road network in Metro Manila is 5,000 kilometers. Sa kanila, 12,000. 22,000. So doon tayo na iiba. So may problema ba tayo sa traffic? Yes. Sobra talaga ang problema natin sa traffic. Ang apilang natin, parang destroy in order to build. Mayroon talagang mga sistema, kultura, yung araw-araw natin ginagawa na kinakaya mo i-destroy. Halimbawa, lagi tayong namomroblema sa traffic at talaga namang totoong dapat nagagalit tayo sa traffic. Pero, counting pasensya ho, sapagkat maliwanag yung mga plano rito. Nasa Metro Manila, magkakaroon tayo ng MRT 7, magkakaroon tayo ng Line 8. We will be extending Santolan, Pasig to Antipolo. We will be extending Line 2 from Recto to Divisoria, to Tutuban, Divisoria, and Pier 4. We're extending south, yung PNR, kung makikita ko ninyo, we're going to establish subway. In fact, meron pa tayong pinaplano Line 8. In other words, meron tayong mga plano. Kaya yung tanong mo, attractive? Yes. Because halos every week, every month, nasa amin sila, nagpapaliwanag. Ang sinasabi lang namin, gaano ba ka-ready ang gobyerno sa mga planong ito? Para magkaroon ka ng stability sa planning mo, we should legislate future rail tracks, future rail networks connecting city to city, province to province, airport to airport, seaport to airport. Kailangan maliging maliwanag na yan. And they should be enacted because mayroon kang stability sa plano mo. Papasok ngayon yung international investors, yung local investors mo, nakikitang may stability kung saan ang riles mo. At yung ROW mo ay hindi na masyadong problema. Ano ang problema ho natin ngayon? Napadaldal tuloy ako.
Sige lang.
Isang problema mo ngayon sa lahat ng rail project is ROW. Why is that? This early, sasabihin ko na ho sa inyo. Ang informal settlers natin, Manila to Bicol is around 100,000. Paano mo ililipat yun? Ang traditional approach ng gobyerno, let HUD see and NHA do it. And to a certain extent, DILG. Iba ang iniisip natin ngayon. Ang iniisip natin ngayon, kung saan magaling ang leadership ng DPWH. Halimbawa, in Batangas at maliwanag doon, pwede ba DPWH, here is the money, tulungan nyo kaming i-relocate at ilagay sa tamang lokasyon ng informal settlers. O yung DILG maybe in Quezon province or maybe yung local government magaling. In other words, we will decentralize. I-decentralize natin para simultaneous ang operations natin. We can even, pwede nga natin gamitin yung encircling the cities from the countryside. By the way, bago ako umalis, ang tanong siguro, ma-accomplish ba ito? Ito mga railway projects ni President Duterte within the term of the President. Ano ang pagkiliwanag ni Secretary Tugado? Yes, marami dito ay ma-accomplish. Of course, yung subway ay hindi magagawa. Worldwide experience, ang subway as long as 23 kilometers, 20 to 30 kilometers, will take 6 years. Sometimes 11 years. Pero ano ang gusto ni Secretary Tugade? Pwede ba pag-aralan ninyo? Ano ang commitment ng JICA sa subway? 20 tunnel boring machines. 20. Kung may 23 kilometers ka from Quirino Avenue, Mindanao Avenue, dadaan ng Mindanao Avenue, North, tapos East Avenue, Katipunan, Ortigas North, Ortigas South, papunta ng BGC, patungo ng FTI. 23 kilometers yan. Ang sabi ng JICA, ang commitment ng JICA, 20 tunnel boring machines, TBMs. Ano sabi ni Secretary? Pwede ba? Bawat isang kilometro mayroon ka nakatutok na TBM. Pwede ba? Tutukan nyo muna ang first 5 stations. Para sabay-sabay nyong trabahuhin yan. Boss, yung TBM ay high-tech na siya ngayon. Mabilis na siyang kumuha ng lupa at ilalagay sa labas at ilalagay kung saan dapat appropriate na lagayan. Ang plano ni Secretary, multiple contractors, under one concept design and detailed engineering design. Pangalawa, 24/7. Ngayon, siyempre may cost yan. Kapag ka 24/7, madadagdagan yung labor cost mo. Pero anong paliwanag ni Secretary? Oo nga, gumastos ka ng dagdag, pero natapos mo ng maaga, therefore nakapag-induce ka kaagad ng regional growth.
Time cost of money.
Ayun. Ipapaliwanag niyan ng Central Bank, ng ekonomista natin dito, kung anong epekto ng mga planong yan. Maraming salamat.
Very well. Teka, may pahabol daw. May pahabol.
Nadagdagan po ba ano bawasan yung aperya sa MRT and kumusta po yung performance ng Busan? At one thing yung sinasabi ni Kong Nograles na paimbestigahan daw yung MRT.
Bago pa sinabi ni Congressman yan, ay ginagawa na natin. MRT. Okay. Bago ako na bumalik sa Riles, ano ba ang theory ko nung wala pa ako sa, nung hindi ako bumabalik sa DOTr? One, kaya ka madalas tumirik ang MRT dahil spare parts. Yun lang naman ho yun eh. Spare parts. Kapag hindi ka bumili ng spare parts sa tamang pinagbibilan at sa tamang panahon, mahina yung, talagang titirik yan. Bakit ko nasabi yan? I was the head of the procurement and planning of LRTA from 2004 to 2010. At that time, hindi pa privatize ang Line 1. Wala pa sa Ayala, wala pa sa Pangilinan. At that time, kami ho ang nag-ooperate ng Line 1 at Line 2. At during our time, we also procured 48 rolling stock light rail vehicles sa Japan pagdating dito gumana. During our time, we designed and constructed Monumento hanggang North Avenue in 1.5 years. Unprecedented. In 1.5 years, including NEDA approvals, 6 months. In 2 years' time, we completed that. Anong experience natin sa LRTA? Kapag matino yung gobyerno, kapag maayos yung plano, at nakatutok lagi ang gobyerno at tama yung mga kontrata, lalo na sa execution ng kontrata. Tama ang kontrata, tama rin ang execution ng kontrata, okay yan. So ano ginagawa natin sa MRT3? Pagpasok natin, nakita natin, dahil ang gusto natin ay tamang spare parts na binibili at dapat yun ang anong nakita natin? During the 9th billing under my term, my first month in office, binawasan natin ng 15.8 million. The 10th billing, binawasan natin ng 2.3 million. The 11th billing, binawasan natin ng 4 million. Why is that? Because yun ay patunay na itong mga isinisingil na ito ay hindi supported by documents based on COA regulations, based on contract. Halimbawa, pag bumili ka ng axle bearing, kinakailangan may mga patunayan. Kung wala, pwedeng fake. Pwedeng hindi nga nailagay.
May fake din spare parts? Meron? Ganon. So, galing sa bulukan.
So, ang ginagawa natin to, para maging maayos, ito ay hindi lang, ito ay para kinakapacitate mo din ang institusyon tulad ng MRT3 kung anong dapat hingin nila, at sinasabi mo rin sa contractor, oy, huwag nyo nang ulitin yan. Bumili kayo ng tamang spare parts. Ilagay nyo ang tamang spare parts sa tamang panahon. Okay?
Final question.
Sige.
Para kay Yusek. Yusek, marami tayong mga planong magaganda. Maganda ho yan kung mapupush talaga. Na kasama rin ho ba sa plano ninyo yung pagbabakod ng mga railways? Kasi actually, napakarami ho tayo nagiging problema. Even before, up to now, na yung mga railways natin, wala talagang segregation mula sa mga residents. Kasama ho ba yan?
Iimbitahan namin kayo sa August. You know why? Ngayon, yung first five station ng Baclaran to Cavite ay patapos na ngayong buwan na to, yung monumenting, yung pagpaglalagay ng mga mohon. Tama ba yung Tagalog ko? Mohon? Mohon ba? Sa Bicol kasi mohon yan eh. Mohon. Okay. Paglalagay ng mohon matatapos na ngayon. Yung monumenting. August, we expect to start the fencing. Magkakaroon na ng fencing. Ganon din ang gagawin natin sa lahat ng railway projects, lalong-lalo na sa Metro Manila. Yung probinsya, hindi masyado.
So, hindi ka na magkakaroon ng mga katulad ng pabahay dito sa may Quirino Avenue?
Hindi ko pwedeng sabihin yan ng 100% na hindi na. Sapagkat nandoon na sa kultura natin eh. Yung survival mo, maghahanap ka na ng lugar kung saan ka pwede. Pangalawa, bahagi ng kultura natin. Kung walang sisita sa'yo, pupunta ka pa rin doon. Kung walang magpapalaya sa'yo, pupunta ka pa rin doon. Bahagi na ng maraming ng kultura yan sa marami sa ating mga kababayan. So I cannot assure you 100% na kapag nagawa ito, wala pa rin informal sectors.
Pwede niyo pong agapan, sir.
Well, Lee Kuan Yew formula. Ano ang Lee Kuan Yew formula? Build a structure and the culture will follow.
Okay. Huwag ka muna umalis. Hintayin natin si Don D for our picture taking. We'll pause for a break for our picture taking. Tuloy pa po tayo. Huwag po kayong mag-alala. Tuloy po tayo sa ating talakayan, mga kaibigan. Ang Pilipinas ay kasama sa GATT, sa World Trade Organization. How sure are we that we're not being shortchanged? Because before sinasabi meron tayong social safety nets. Are these social safety nets really in place? Ano po ba ang nangyari sa ating mga pakikipagkasundo sa iba't ibang mga grupo?
Well, yung social safety nets, I think, kailangan yan. That's why emphasized rin sa Congress, we need to really be responsive. Budget yan. And again, GAA and agriculture support, farmer support, definitely, DFA, the economic managers have always been very supportive. Kailangan natin, we should unite behind our farmers.
Yeah.
And when we say unite behind them and give support, that should translate to real budgetary support.
Opo, pero sa GDP, mukhang kokonti yung kontribusyon ng agriculture. Ano po ba ang inyong pananaw?
Actually, agriculture investment has been identified as major. Sa investor, ang returns on investment in agriculture, mabilis ang return on investment. So definitely, food productivity, farmer support, napakaganda ng program sa agriculture.
Okay. Pero binanggit mo, Ronnie, kanina that the Philippines is one of the most mineralized countries in the world. So, pag sinabi mong merong mineral, hindi ka pwede magbungkal ng lupa dahil walang mabubuhay.
Well, not really, no? Ang mining naman kasi, ang minerals natin, hindi naman yan hindi yan umuulit, di ba? So once it's extracted, there is now an opportunity for other sectors to come in. No? So once the minerals are extracted, available na yung lupa for agriculture.
Pwede na.
Pwede na. Kasi the paradox is yung highly mineralized land is also not ideal for farming. Kasi mataas ang iron at nickel content niyan. And para ka nagtanim sa kalawang. No? So the best thing really to do is extract mo muna yung heavy metals to make it more appropriate for other industries like tourism, agriculture.
And that's the time pakikinabangan yan.
Correct.
For other purposes.
Yun naman ang ganda ng mining. It's a temporary land use. Kaya lang, kailangan mo siyang unahin kasi nasa ilalim yung deposito eh. So, ilabas mo na yan, And then after that, you dedicate the land for other purposes.
This may be classified, pero ang tanong, yung bang pag sinabi mong gold production, namomonitor nyo ba yan?
Well, for large scale, yes. But it's unfortunate that about 50% of the country's gold production is from small-scale mining. And most of small-scale mines are largely unregulated.
And this small scale is not so small.
Yes, it's a misnomer actually.
Uh-huh. Okay, so how does Bangko Sentral look at it, madam? I hope this is within your province because it's economics.
Yes, yung sa gold, no? Because in the past, we used to have a lot of the small-scale panners selling to the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. So we have the gold buying offices, no, in the regions. But because of the tax imposed on these small-scale panners, then ano na, we have not much of this purchases from these panners being done in the past few years, and that's the reason why we don't have much increase. Well, not much increase in this quantity of
Gold production.
purchase,
Yes.
gold purchase from them.
Gold purchase. So this is one gray area that we should look into. If it is not, and if it will not endanger your position, who was the dimwit responsible for the taxation? Because, you killed the goose that lays the golden egg. Di po ba?
Well, we've been in touch with the Department of Finance on this. Well, hopefully this will be something that will be resolved later on.
Later on. Kasama ba ito sa bagong tax package kung sakali? Bibigyan ng
I don't
reprieve?
think so. It's more of the yung sa mga consumption
Yun na
goods.
nga eh. Yun ang problema eh. Oo. Hindi kasama dun sa ayusin eh. Anyway, you can convince Department of Finance because they sit on your land, right? Oh, so, tenant niyo yung Department of Finance. Okay. Pero, okay. Pag titingnan po natin yung ating foreign relations in terms of economics, do we really have economic attaches? Because during the time of Secretary De Rosario, sabi niya, una, makipagkaibigan ka sa mga bansa. Pangalawa, magkaroon ka ng kalakal sa mga bansa. At pangatlo, yung iyong mga mamamayan ay dapat ligtas doon sa mga bansang kanilang pinatutunguhan. Yung pong pagkakaroon ng kalakal sa mga bansa, ano pong progreso natin dito?
So, ang policy natin dyan, the DFA has this 86 foreign service posts. So, meron naman tayong mga economic officers, ang tawag dyan. Siyempre, may political officer, meron economic officer. Yung opisina ko nga, Office of the Undersecretary for International Economic Relations or UWIR, we coordinate with all our posts with their economic officers. Ang trabaho nila, together with commercial and trade counselors and trade attaches, meron rin tayong mga tourism attaches. Sa iba, hindi naman lahat, pero definitely DTI and DOT have also commercial attaches and tourism attaches. So sa tourism sector, growth area yan. So definitely we are getting more and more tourist arrivals. Sa trade and investment rin, katulong namin ng DTI to really promote Philippine interests and also address their queries, questions. Every year, maraming programa ang bawat foreign service post together with these attaches and economic officers.
I hate to use the term, pero nagagamit ba itong mga ahensyang ito at mga taong ito sa iba't ibang bansa to monitor anong meron dun sa mga bansang kinalalagyan nila at maganda ang kalakal?
Yes, actually, yan ang minomonitor ngayon. The statistics we gather, kung ano yung of course, the first and foremost, yung tinatawag mo, assistance to nationals. Ilan yung Filipino nationals in the country or in the region. Then second, ano yung mga trade. We gather the trade and export-import statistics. At ano yung mga investments. Dumadami na ang Philippine investments at overseas.
Yeah, I heard may mga negosyanteng Pilipino mas gusto na magkalakal sa Myanmar No, kesa dito sa atin, instead of expanding in the Philippines, they go to areas like Myanmar and Vietnam. Yung po bang pasahod sa manggagawa is a factor being considered by investors?
Yan ang talagang, that's why tinatanong kanina kung are we developing. We're really in the emerging stage. Ang stage, of course, like Japan, tignan mo ang UK or US, initially, you're investing locally. But eventually, since you need to trade with other countries, you want to have footprint investments in those countries. Because then, you have a strategic connection, a Philippine company having a subsidiary in Vietnam, kunyari, or Malaysia, di dadami yung empleyado nun at yung trade and investment across the whole region. Then you become, as they say, an ASEAN company. You're bigger. So you're earning from trade and you're earning from dividends from your investments. So
Yeah.
lumalaki yung, pati sa Philippines, maganda yun kasi lumalaki rin yung tax revenue natin. So actually, it's called strategic investment. And when you hear the news lagi, is Africa always in the news? You're wondering why is CNN covering Africa? Why is BBC covering Africa? It's because that's where the US and the UK are encouraging their companies to invest in competition with China. Because talaga, where you invest, that is your future trade and economic and investment relations. So Philippines is adopting also this. That's why ASEAN was created. We're investing in each other.
Uh-huh.
And then we are creating more and more ASEAN citizens, ASEAN small and medium businesses, ASEAN medium and large companies. And the internet, even a small business in Dagupan or a small business in Baguio, it's amazing. You can actually sell on the internet and have exports.
Really. You know, it's also a pleasure to see companies like in Shanghai, the companies owned by Carlos Chan, where you see yung Oishi, where you see Chinese workers waving Filipino flags, no? When President Aquino dropped by for a visit, I was part of the group. May iba-iba naman yung senaryo, no? Yung mga Chino nagwawagayway ng bandila ng Pilipinas to welcome the President. Hindi tayo yung trabahador. Pero katulad niyan, if you go to Xiamen, you get to see SM, you get to see Robinsons. It's as if you never left the Philippines. May Jollibee, of course. Pero sa ganito pong pagkakataon, sinasabi rin ng mga Chino, kayong mga Pilipino, you buy a lot from us. Okay? Kaya lang hindi naka-record. So how was smuggling affected or impacted on the trade relations? Because even during the time of Cesar Purisima, nabanggit ko sa kanya, sabi niya, pag sinuma mo yung imports natin from China at yung exports nila to the Philippines, magkalayo. Hindi po ba nasisilip yun?
Actually, that is also a problem encountered by all countries. No, it's very difficult to match the trade data between partner countries because there are different valuation practices followed by different countries. Yun. So, in fact, what they were saying is we have an increasing discrepancy with our statistics as far as trade with China is concerned. But we also saw that in other countries. That's particularly true, no? Although they were saying that there's probably this factor of smuggling, which is not really captured in our trade statistics. But we'll have to consider that particular area on valuation practices being followed. And of course, some countries would really have they really go into some practices in order to show a value of their trade to be able to address some problems with capital controls or even taxation.
Okay. Yes, please.
Actually, that's also the benefit of economic cooperation and collaboration. So sa ASEAN, it's an amazing experiment and we're hitting 50 years. But it's if you're really from the ordinary citizen to the government bureaucrat, it's an amazing experiment. Pati customs, our customs leaders or officials meet with other customs officials, buong ASEAN. So at least they're already, those concerns of yours, they're actually sharing from the official level to each other. And don't forget, ASEAN is not only 10 countries. Kasamang partnership yan yung ASEAN plus 3. There's its own summit that includes China, Japan, Korea. And then yun nga, the East Asian Dialogue, kasama na ang US, Russia, and of course the Australia, New Zealand, India. So, ang maganda sa economic cooperation, hindi lang naman about trade, hindi lang about investment. Good governance, regulatory compliance, communication between all kinds of officials, central bank to central bank, tourism authority to tourism authority, smuggling issues. At least officials from each country nag-iisip together to address concerns of
Okay.
media and citizens.
Of course. Yes, ma'am.
And I think also, and even how these are recorded and captured in the customs, no? There is a window, single window, no, that covering yung ASEAN trade.
Really? And we can rely on that. Pero let me ask you, Undersecretary, during the ASEAN last April, there was this ASEAN Business Advisory Council led by Mr. Concepcion. And there was this, there was this conference, Prosperity for All. And the speakers were the prime ministers of Thailand, Malaysia, and Vietnam, which was ravaged by war for decades. And I asked Mr. Concepcion, why do we have to listen to these guys of their success stories when we were number 2 during the 60s? We were just next to Japan. What is the thing that's wrong with us, or what are the things that we didn't do that they overtook us? Yes, please.
Pero parang lumang anong tawag yun? Parang lumang, what do you call that pag old recording? Lumang tugtugin na yun, di ba yung napakalumang, this is 1960s kwento, yung nadinig ko na yun sa 70s, 80s, na, yung 1960s, second tayo to Japan. Pero parang napakalumang tugtugin na yun. This is already 2017.
Of course.
Ang tunay ay, may talagang, we are number 2 population in ASEAN.
Next to Indonesia.
Oo. Our economy is the best record, top performer. So ang importante is, we've grown also. 103 or 104 million na tayo. So, I think the challenge is, gawing inclusive growth, ano dapat ang gagawin ngayon? That's why nga, ang challenge natin, hindi naman ang goal sa ekonomiya na maging number 1. Of course, ginagamit ng economists yun for competition. So, ang technical goal natin, by 2040, develop na tayo. By the time, and we are on track, I have to say, poverty alleviation, on track talaga tayo. So, any objective economist, titignan ng Philippines, grabe ang potential and grabe ang where we are now.
Okay.
So, mabuti na lang, wala pa tayo sa problema ng Japan o problema ng France, and where you have an aging population, we will deal with that in 2040. Then iba naman yung economic problems natin. Iba ang demographics. Pero ngayon, we're in the best spot. Kailangan lang natin, as sabi ni Presidente, minimize corruption, kasi pag corruption ay kumakain, kunyari meron kang 6% growth, tapos kainin ng corruption yung 1%. So parang yung 6% mo hindi, parang 5% lang. So ibig sabihin, the key now is knowledge, build, educate everyone, and tulong. Of course, nothing can be achieved kung hindi tulungan. Because kailangan isa lang yung goal eh. Tulungan tayo ngayon. Ang maganda sa Congress nga, kung nakikita nila maganda yung programa, just on the merit, di pasa natin.
Okay.
Di ba? So of course, magaling to be vigilant. Pero facts should be the guide.
Basis.
Oo,
Yeah, okay.
facts should be the
Very
guide.
well. Sa labas po ng Bangko Sentral, meron pong estero sa pagitan ng Bangko Sentral at ng Ospital ng Maynila. Doon ko po nakikita yung mga informal settlers na nauulanan, naiinitan. Parang isang malaking hamon yung inclusivity ng growth. No? Whenever Bangko Sentral or NEDA would say, we grew by so and so, teka muna, yung mga tao ron sa may estero, sa pagitan ng Bangko Sentral at ng Ospital ng Maynila, nadaragdagan. No? Sa minahan, ang sabi, yung minahan maganda, pero yung tao sa community mahirap. Mag-react ka muna ron, Ronnie.
Yan ang kailangan.
Hindi, ito kasi, ang mining kasi, we operate in the remotest areas, no? Walang economic opportunities doon. But when the mine comes in, they attract commerce, no? Kasi yung mine will need a community, and that community will need services. So, yung poor, they see opportunities arising in these remote areas, kaya dumadagsa talaga sila. So the challenge for us now really is, how do you take advantage of that fact? No, na you have a lot of human capital coming in. For mines, what we do is, we take it as an opportunity to train people and create human capital. So before, when these people have no skills and very little economic potential, we train them to become machinists, heavy equipment operators, foresters. So they leave the mine with skills intact that they can now take elsewhere. No? So yun ang value ng mining in these remote areas. No?
So may inclusivity kahit paano.
Correct. And it's something that must be encouraged.
Okay.
Kailangan talagang pagtuunan.
Sa statistics po ng Bangko Sentral, sa inyong tanggapan, anong tingin ninyo ron? Yung contribution ng mga katulad ng minahan doon sa ekonomiya to make it more inclusive yung growth.
Malaki rin, kasi if you look at yung contribution dun sa mining, it's not as huge as the contribution siguro that we're looking at yung sa services, yan, sa BPO. BPO is a fast-growing industry, no? Although recently there were concerns with the BPOs because of that protectionist statements policy by the US, the US administration. But of course, yung services sector natin is really a huge, it has a huge contribution to our economy. Mining is also it has as a relatively small contribution, but of course all sectors in the economy should always contribute to the growth. We should not leave behind the smallest sectors, no? Because we need to diversify also. Diversify yung ating industries or sectors eh.
Yan ang actually sa economics ganun yun eh. It's not actually if one or the other. There's not actually a choice. It's called complementarity. Kasi tignan mo sa Middle East, for a long time, they were very dependent on one sector, oil. So, can you believe the Crown Prince nga ng Saudi Arabia, Vision 2030, ang vision nila talagang diversification. So, if you're in the agriculture sector, you want to be the best agriculture industry as you can be. Kung nasa mining ka, maraming problema, but we've heard from the Chamber of Mines, they want to be a responsible mining sector. Lahat ng kumpanya nila, responsible mining, good corporate citizens. Kung nandun ka naman sa, kunyari, advertising business, or nandiyan ka sa marketing business or real estate, you also want to be a good corporate citizen. So ang gobyerno naman, tinitignan lang yung iba-ibang sector na dapat lahat sila ay good ethical practices, good business practices. And then when we interact with the world, we try to encourage world standards or best practices. So yun yung dynamic. What each person, each industry, each sector, kung ano mang ginagawa mo, with the information age now, we can check whether you are doing the best possible in your sector today. Ang problema sa gobyerno, kailangan namin bigay yung infrastructure, funding, enabling. Kaya nga yung build, ang gobyerno will enable all businesses, all sectors. Kunyari, may railway, may irrigation, may train. Binigay na ng gobyerno lahat. The citizens, companies, small, medium, large, all have to take advantage and build their business.
Pero ang isang problema po ganito, katulad niyan, build. Matagal na yung build eh. Bakit? Maganda pa yung karsada, ginigiba na eh. Maganda pa yung sidewalk, ginigiba na. Dahil hindi kursunada ng mayor yung design. Pero hindi po ba sayang yung salapi natin? Is there anything we can do about it? Because, we may be feeding contractors, all right, pero some people make money somewhere.
Yun nga yung maganda sa federalism. Yun yung maganda sa decentralization. Kasi, kung magbibintang ka ng opisyalis mo, pwede rin magbintang sa community mo. Ikaw nag-elect yun eh. Di ba? So, maganda nga yun talagang sinabi ni Presidente. Kagaya na dinig nyo kanina, let the Mindanaoans supervise the rail. Siyempre, isipin nila, sa economics kasi meron yan sub-economies or sectors. You can go too big, you can grow too big. Na siyempre, kung Manila lagi ang decision, iisipin mo muna yung pinakamalamit, out of sight, out of mind. So, the stronger we make our regional development councils, malakas na sila. Kasi nagpa-planning sila, iniisip lang nila yung buong Pampanga or Central Luzon region. Sa Manila, iba ang problema. Ang problema natin is traffic, health, sanitation. Iba naman problema sa Cebu. Iba naman yung problema sa Leyte, Samar. So, if you have 10 billion, 20 billion Leyte, Samar, ang iisipin mo yung livelihood and infrastructure o kung may mining or agriculture relevant to your region. And gagamitin mo yung 20 billion mo towards your priority. Ngayon, kung responsibility is top-down, bottom-up, and side-side, and media attacks from all sides. So, kasama na lahat. So, ibig sabihin, decentralization is an economic, political, and social theory that helps good governance.
Very well. Well said. Pero one of the problems of the local government code, kung ang doktor siyang naging gobernador, ang priority yung kanyang health. Yung health care. Pero kung yung gobernador may pa-waiting, ang prioridad yung waiting. No? So, sabi nga, wala ka naman ikang mapipisil. Kanina may binabanggit yung isang kasama natin si Elmer, doon sa isang bayan sa Masbate, ang mayor yung tatay, ang vice mayor yung nanay, yung kagawad, yung number 1, yung anak. Tapos yung ABC, yung isang anak pa rin. I guess we really have to do an overhaul.
Well, kung decentralized, pamilya rin. For me naman, nandyan si Monsignor, family is family. Hindi natin pwedeng, actually, even in our tourism program, even in our foreign relations, they always look at the Philippines, they admire our sense of family and community support. So, pag pamilya usapan, hindi naman natin ina-attack. I think we should just have checks and balances.
Okay.
Kasi checks and balances yan. Kasi kung sabihin mo, dahil kapatid, masama na, hindi naman ganun. Because the church is there. The media is another responsible member. Nandoon yung barangay officials. Kailangan talaga team effort. And the more you decentralize, mas madali nilang pag-usapan. Kasi pamilya rin yan pag smaller community.
Okay. Yung ease of doing business is another issue. Dahil pati yung barangay kagawad, kailangan mong suhulan para makakuha ka ng permit. That's another case. We will not talk about it now. Maybe we will invite
No,
COA.
yung ganyan, dapat pag-usapan. Pero it's not a national issue. Dapat, kung hindi mo malapitan yung vice mayor mo, yung councilor mo, there's something wrong.
Okay. All right. Question.
Kay Director Guerrero po. Bago po pumunta sa Pangulo, 6 ang palitan po ng dollar and Now, nasa 50 na po, more than 50. Ano po yung forecast nyo dito at ano yung positive and negative effect dito?
Hindi po kami nagfo-forecast ng exchange rate, no? Because ang exchange rate, ano yan? It's supply and demand. Ang market ang nagdi-dictate ng exchange rate niya, no? We allow the market to dictate what the exchange rate will be, no? Yung pagtaas ng nung exchange rate na pagbaba ng halaga ng piso konti, no, kung sabi mo na 46 umakyat sa 50, no, ano naman yan meron diyang nagigain, merong naglulose. So definitely natutuwa dyan ang ating mga exporters at ang ating mga overseas Filipino workers kasi mas mataas na ang palitan. So yung halaga ng kung sa $1, mas malaki na ang nakukuha nilang kapalit na peso. So maganda sa kanila 'yon. Hindi naman maganda ito dun sa ating mga importers kasi mas malaki ang kailangan nilang ilabas na peso para mabili yung halaga ng imported goods. Kasama na dyan yung ating pag-import ng oil. So yun yung mga, syempre, hindi mo pwedeng pasiyahin ng lahat dun sa mga nangyayaring ito. Pero sinisigurado naman palagi ng Bangko Sentral na yung paggalaw ng exchange rate natin, hindi papasukan yan ng too much speculation. Kasi pag meron ng speculation dyan na yung biglang papalo na yan yung pagtaas niya na syempre. So, yun ang ating sinisigurado na maging stable ang ating exchange rate.
Ano nagre-release kayo ng mga dollars din para makontrol yung pagsipa?
Pag nakikita na natin yan na meron na ngang marami ng speculation na nangyayari dyan, masyado ng mataas or malaki yung galaw, then ang Bangko Sentral ay nagpa-participate sa foreign exchange market para siguraduhin na yung paggalaw na yan ay smooth. Hindi yung biglang palong taas or biglang bagsak na gano'n. Sinisigurado yan na makakatulong yan kasi syempre ang ating mga nagnenegosyo, lahat ng ating mga involved sa trade, sa investments, yan. Kasi we're using foreign exchange hindi yung ang kanilang business decisions pa rin ay hindi masyadong maaapektuhan because of those exchange rate movements.
Gain ba tayo compare yung sa exporter and importer? Gain pa rin ba tayo kung pag susumahin po yung benepisyo at
Kasi maraming mga sektor na affected diyan, no? So kasi titingnan din naman natin yung galaw din ng exchange rate ng ibang currencies. In fact, if you look at the currencies dun sa where our OFWs are located, most of them are located, hindi lang yung galaw ng dollar at peso ang titingnan mo kasi yung kung ano yung tinatanggap niya doon sa kung saang bansa siya nagtatrabaho, nagkakaroon din ng makikita mo na humihina rin naman yung currencies ng ibang countries versus the dollar. So pag suma mo na yon yung epekto nung third currency na yon versus the effect noong peso and dollar exchange rate, meron pa rin tayong gain in some way. Kasi titingnan mo lahat yun ang mga Pilipino, halos nasa lahat na ng countries, di ba? Nakadeploy sila doon. So, yan ang dapat binabantayan natin.
Yun nga ang sabi diyan sa economics kasi ang main role ng government is siguraduhin market forces yan. So ibig sabihin ang importante it's actually the market dictating the rate. Kaya kung tataas yung importers, small businesses na highly dependent on energy, 'di ba kung maliit ka na business, kung nag-iiba yung rate mo, naghahanap ka ng ibang supplier. So kung reliant ka on imported goods, ang maganda rin naman sa local, naghahanap sila ng local suppliers or locally made products. So, lumiliit it's good in a sense for other local producers. Kasi, biglang pati sa oil, naghahanap tayo ng diversification. Kaya lumaki ang solar energy natin, di ba? Because kahit tumaas man yung oil, ang impact sa ekonomiya natin mas konti. But hindi naman hihinto tayo mag-import. Pero, so yun ang maganda sa, sabi ng iba, hindi tama, pero maganda to let the economic forces play kasi it shows, ang gusto naman ng businessman is predictable and level. Of course, kung magaling ka na manager, ang mga medium businesses, nagpa-plan sila ng forex requirements nila, lalo na if you're in the export business. Kung purely local ka, food business, hindi ka masyado dependent kasi minomonitor mo yung kita mo. Oo.
Ano po yung dahilan? Ba't biglang ganun po yung spike ng peso ngayon?
Hindi naman, ilan percent lang. Don't forget, maliit lang, don't forget the normal movement is from 3 to 6%. So, nami-measure ang movement eh. So, may metrics. So, you're talking from, anong spike na sinabi mo? From
6 to 50, sir. Last year po, 56. Nung bago po mo po.
56? Hindi.
Ah, 46. I think 46.
So, that's over 1%, 8%, 5%. Oh. Kasi it's with, may konting range. Oo. And don't forget, you're talking US dollar. So you have to compare whether the Thai, Malaysia, all the others in the region as a group index, pareho. So ibig sabihin, it's the dollar strengthening versus the EU. Yeah, you have to measure it. Kaya ang madalas nating i-measure yung regional currencies natin kasi So yung dollar is moving.
Magiging stable na po ba ito? Or
Oh, that's the one. Yan ang mga, kung alam mo yan, bigla kang kukunin sa New York or London, milyonaryo ka na, more than milyonaryo ka na. At saka, bigay mo lang yung phone number mo, maraming tatawag sa'yo.
Marami naman kasing maraming mga factors yan. Global developments would affect also our exchange rate, di ba? Hindi pa tayo umabot doon sa panahon na, I think back in the late 90s or umabot tayo ng 56 pesos to a dollar. Malayo pa tayo doon.
Was it 97 during the financial crisis?
No. Mga, it's 2000 something. And,
97-20 lang.
yes. So, ang pa rin yan, malaki pa rin ang pumapasok na foreign exchange sa atin. Foreign direct investments, we have tourism receipts, we have continued growth in exports, ang BPOs natin. Marami tayong sources of foreign exchange na papasok pa rin. That would contribute to the continued or the sustained strength of the peso na yung hindi mo makikita na hindi mo naman natin ine-expect na talagang babagsak yung halaga niya.
Okay. Yes. And then, yes.
For DFA, aside from China and Russia, kasi diba good yung economy natin, ano pa po yung mga countries na nag-express ng interest to invest and ano mga industries po? Railway is one kanina po. Pero aside from that, anong industries and countries?
Marami kasi, Korea of course, pati US, European investors. We already have, actually the latest news is, di ba, Colombia, Hungary, Sweden reopened embassy. So makikita mo, there's growing but that's because the economy is sizable. Industry sectors from lahat ng infrastructure, of course, consumer goods, telecom, services, BPO. Yun nga, it's quite diverse. Pero the more it's related to infrastructure, so the big investors and ODA interested. Sa consumer goods, all kinds of large industries from different countries ang interested.
Industries po parang hindi nyo expect na to invest in the Philippines because of the yung pag-start of Duterte administration? Anong industries or countries?
New industry. Yeah. Meron bang bagong industry?
Or expected na itong mga industries?
Well, because IT, we've always been strong in IT, BPO, manufacturing. Well, yung infrastructure is the biggest change because with the conservative yung approach ng prior administration to spending, no? Because they were after more showing a very balanced surplus and no deficit. Ang policy ng mga yan, build, build, build. So there's a focus on infrastructure and enabling logistics, enabling value chains, supply chain, movement of goods and people. So infrastructure could be a signature item that major investors and the AIIB, ADB, major financial institutions are looking at because that's longer term and has that kind of impact.
Last question, both for Sir Ron and sa DFA po. How about investors sa mining? Kasi parang recently with the ambiguity in government rules, medyo nag-ano po. So, sa mga investors na nakausap niyo sa mining, kamusta po ang tingin niyo?
Well, as the Chamber of Mines representative said, we had, I think, the past year was a wake-up call to the mining industry. So, and I think there's a positive side. The president has said he's pro-responsible mining. Any ordinary citizen does not want pollution or destruction of the environment. And then, so there was a swing to that, but now we are swinging slowly to a policy that can adapt to the sector. Meaning the sector, if they can show responsible practices, they are a potential contributor, major contributor to the economy for jobs and tax revenue. So it's still in the first year stage, second year stage, as the Chamber of Mines has said. So DFA is just supporting the DNR in continuing, because right now will be a stabilization of the policies. And we don't want a swing to the opposite extreme that you want then any mining. Hindi naman rin pwede, di ba? So I think this is a positive challenge, I think, to get the correct regulatory mix and balance for responsible mining without sacrificing the environment.
Bago makalusot ito, I just got a message here. 2 of 6 Vietnamese sailors abducted in 2016 were found dead in Basilan. They were beheaded. This is according to the Western Mindanao Command. How would this impact on the investment climate in the Philippines? And of course, the war in Marawi.
Of course, sympathies, and as a human matter, we always have to have compassion for the innocent victims, and I think the whole world is united that acts of violence, acts of terror are really unacceptable. I don't know, we've said unacceptable so much. It's really going to be a battle, and I think people have to unite against violence. So, at least from the foreign policy perspective, we always keep in touch with the chambers of commerce and assure what the investors are looking at, because they face the same problems in their home turf. In their own home countries, they face these terrorist problems. So what they really want to look at is flow of information, early warning that the government is acting responsibly and in cooperation with the private sector to minimize risk.
Okay. Would the Bangko Sentral be would be able to monitor the flow of money of certain groups like the Abu Sayyaf? Because while there were claims by the Philippine government when the German couple was released that there was no ransom paid, and yet the Abu Sayyaf showed bundles and bundles of crisp 1,000 peso bills in their lair, how will this be? You know, parang mahirap unawain.
Will not be able to monitor where those money are now, no. But definitely, if these are transactions that would have to go through the banking system, banks are very well aware that they should comply with the anti-money laundering regulations. And that's why there are already regulations regarding even the casino operations, these are already being discussed. These are being there are legislations on this already, but we have to always ensure and the banks are well aware of this, that there should be strict compliance with this anti-money laundering.
Okay. If we have about 4 million addicts in the Philippines and they consume 100 pesos a day for shabu, how would the drug industry or illegal drug industry impact on the country's gross national product? Eh, 4 million addicts gumagastos na 100 sa shabu. O, gaano kalaki yung impact nito? You know, there's got to be something. There's got to be some computation somewhere. But you may prefer not to answer it. Yes.
But that's sa economics, that's 4 million underperforming or non-performing human capital. So definitely that becomes a drain on the families who are responsibly working. That is also a drain on the healthcare system. And that's also, so I think those three, it's first, they're a drain to their families and communities. So extra cost yun. Sila mismo, hindi sila performing asset or underperforming. Baka half-time lang sila on drugs. And then the third, yun nga, so additional government cost and healthcare and lost tax revenue. So there,
Malaki impact. Malaki.
so it's I just call it substantial because even though may human capital kasi yan and hindi mo mapepresyohan, pero kailangan talaga to help those you have to, that's why the rehabilitation centers, very grateful we've been very grateful to China and other countries who contributed to construction of rehabilitation centers kasi this will lessen the impact.
How is our
economic cost.
relations with the European Union at this point in time?
We are it's normal, very good. Of course, you may, particular issues, na-review na nga, di ba, with the Human Rights Council, we had our peer review, and there's continuing dialogue. And of course, there's even a donation, which we appreciate from the European Union on Marawi.
Okay, very well. Pahabol. Sige, para matapos na. Oh, yes.
Recidoro. Concern lang po ako dun sa sinasabing yung mga pagsira ng palikasan. Usually yun yung nagiging tagline nung dati. Sa inyo pong expertise, totoo ba yun? At bakit po yung mga minero, yung mga industriya, pinababayaan lang ho nila yung mga hinukay nila na transfer to another? Is that illegal?
Well, that's the misconception, ano? Kasi ang nakikita nating image are the active mine sites.
Yes.
But under a responsible mining regime, mining does not stop at extraction. It stops when the area is rehabilitated. So dapat ang tignan natin, yung mga minang yan, pag natapos, ni-rehabilitate ba nila yung area nila? Kailangan, bago sila umalis, may gubat na doon sa pinagminahan nila. Or kung hindi man gubat, agroforestry, or even a tourism area. Lahat naman yan, nasa plano na sinasubmit ng mga mining companies to the MGB. Kailangan lang, nakatutok talaga ang pamahalaan na tutok pa rin noong contractor yung mga plano niya.
Okay.
Sa ganun pagkakataon, kanino po dapat i-report po? Kasi meron ng mga ganun
Ay, talaga. You should report that to the MGB, the Mines and Geosciences Bureau.
But the problem is, if you don't have any control, do sa small scale, may problema tayo.
Correct. Napakalaki ng small scale at there's
Napakalaki.
nobody in charge of it. Oo. Dahil
Okay.
ang permits niyan ay issued ng local government and there's no national agency on top of it.
Okay. Thank you. Joe Torres of UCAN, do you have any question? None? Okay. Statements about what do you see in the near future? Let's start with the mines.
We're very happy with the Duterte administration's pronouncement on build, because we feel that the mining industry can contribute significantly to the build paradigm, no? Because ang build na scenario envisions raw materials of cement and steel. These are components that the mining industry produces. The challenge now is for government to link mining to processing to manufacturing. No? Kasi right now, there's a disconnect. But once government is able to do that, our build policy will now be anchored on a Philippine mining industry that produces the steel, concrete, and aggregates that this plan will need.
Okay. Yung binanggit mong steel, bakal yun, ha?
Bakal.
Hindi yung ibang spelling.
iba.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I guess the government has a carefully laid out plan. And it's a long-term plan. We have the ambition natin 2040. So personally, what is important is each one of us contributes to the attainment of that plan, whether this be government or the private sector. As individuals, as responsible citizens, we have to collaborate among ourselves with the government, and government has to ensure that it's committed to that plan.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Yes, so I think we have a very good program for the future, and it's medium term and long term, including short term. So I think we have to revive the feeling that it is really team effort, Team Philippines. I remember the motto Team Philippines from FBR's time. So FBR's time, GMA's time, ERAP's time, Aquino's time was a resurgence also of pride. So I think now we should really be proud of the Philippines, and in foreign policy and economic relations, government, business, and people to people. So each of you, each of us are diplomats for Team Philippines.
Thank you very much. With that, we bring to a close our first anniversary presentation. Thank you very much. We will have a very simple lunch right after our Wednesday roundtable at Lido.